This is going to be a brief overview of Google+, and we're just going to cover a number of essentials here of what Google+ does. This is a huge subject, and it's really something that we'll be doing multiple different videos in the near future about, because it's extremely important. So I guess the obvious question first is, what is Google+? Google+ is, to use the phrase that I can best describe it, an ecosystem of what houses all the different Google free tools that exist on the net. So when I say free tools, I mean Google applications, I mean Gmail, I mean Google Webmaster Tools, for those who are aware of it, and if you're not, you should be. Google Analytics, and so many more free Google tools that exist, which are all extremely powerful in their own right. But at the end of the day, Google Plus brings all these together, including the likes of YouTube, and so therefore this is just critical to your business to get started, to understand, because it's not anymore about being ranked on Google. It's very much a different situation nowadays. And when you're logged into Google, you're going to see different search results according to your behavior. And so therefore, the bottom line is that in terms of getting yourself found on Google now and in the future, you need to be on Google+. It's not a magic bullet, but it does definitely have some advantages. So without further ado, let's just have a look at how this works. We're just looking at my profile here, and in terms of profile, it obviously shows the different posts that you put out there, kind of similar to Facebook. But one distinct advantage, which I love, which is pretty basic, but Facebook doesn't appear to have it whenever I use it, is that you can actually edit the post. And so therefore, from that point of view, if you make a mistake, then you can go back and correct it. So this is excellent. This is actually my business page profile. I should just say that as well. So you do actually have a personal profile, just like Facebook, and so I'm just looking at the business page here, because that's obviously what you should be using, just similar to Facebook. If we go back to the home page, then this is the equivalent of the news feed, if you like, in terms of what you see in Facebook. Well, this is what you see in Google, and depending on who you're connected to and what your passions and interests are, which is essentially what Google Plus is about. Yes, it is a kind of a social network, but ultimately it's really a lot more than that, and that's really where people make the mistake. In the end, yes, it can be used as a social network, and you choose what information that you see. And just while we're looking at that, because this is basically something that can be used by yourself anytime, is that if you want to actually upload a photo, you just literally click on that. That's how you add a video, and that's where you create an event. And we're going to talk about events very briefly in a moment. And that's where you add a link. So just by clicking on a link, you just put in the URL of the website, and it's as simple as that. So it is your choice who you actually add in terms of which circles. The name of the circles is important. So when I say circles, for anybody who doesn't understand, that simply means that you decide how to separate your customers into specific categories. And that's why this is so powerful. It's a lot easier to do than on Facebook. So I'm just going to keep this very top line, otherwise this will be a very long video, and I just need to do a series of videos to explain this. You can have multiple different pages. So we have pages about buying and selling websites, and medical tourism was something that we looked at a little while ago. But in the end, it's something that you can have as many pages as you want. To go down the little navigation here, I believe they call that the blue ribbon, or certainly the ribbon, and this just allows you to see what's hot and recommended on Google+. So if you're really stuck and you've got no particular friends or passions or interests, and you haven't connected with anybody, then Google will automatically give you what you can actually see that is being shared a lot, which is being commented a lot. And I'm just enlarging the screen here so you can see it. You have the ability to see what's trending on Google Plus, just like you can on Twitter. And so today is Mother's Day, of course, in Australia, and Star Trek and Facebook again. So that's just something that you can explore on your own. This is where you add your own photos, fairly straightforward. Obviously, in this case, make them business orientated. I will click on the communities. This is the equivalent of the Facebook groups. And so what this is simply where you can join a group of specific people who are really passionate about a subject, i.e. real estate investing in those cases, and you can create your own community. And so you literally just click on create a community. You can decide to show it to the world or keep it private. And I'm not going to go through communities in detail now, as this is just an overview. But these can be exceptionally powerful. You have to be prepared to commit some time or get some moderators in to actually manage it. But certainly you can see some big numbers here. And so, if you've got a popular subject, you can be the person who owns this, who controls, the audience, in a nice way. And it is ultimately a great way to get your message out there. So not to be underestimated, just something that, over time can be exceptionally powerful. In terms of events, this is where you create an event like you can on Facebook. And so it's up to you what you obviously make it about. You have some different headers that you can choose. And so if we just click on that, it gives you a theme, and you can change the theme according to whatever, matches for you. And in terms of event options, you just can decide who can invite other people. And there is an advanced section for making this a Google Plus Hangout online or actually on air. And we'll talk about that separately just for now, but you've got all the different information, the location, the details, and who you want to invite. So pretty straightforward, very, very useful, and highly recommended. And in terms of circles, this will just actually give you an idea of who is already in your circles and who's actually added you as well. So it's up to you where you place them and how you do this and who you search for. This is all down to your targeting and your marketing, but ultimately this is how you add people. So from this point of view, if I just take Caitlin, I'm not sure if she's in one of my circles yet already, excuse me, but that's something that you just literally drag the image down to the circle, and it will actually add them into the circle. So that's how it works. It is pretty straightforward. Just just needs a little bit of practice. So it says drag people to your circles to follow and share. So you can actually see who's in your circles, who's added you, of course, and ultimately decide what you're actually going to do with them. So this is clearly how you can just segment your database. You can decide what you call the circle. The people who you add in will never know what that's called, and only when they add you will you be able to get your content seen by them, if that makes sense. So if you only add them, you're only going to see their content. So of course it is a two-way decision, and so therefore you have local places. This is Google Places, Google Maps, if you're not familiar with it. And again, this is a whole different subject on its own, but this is great because it shows you the different connections that and have they been to the local Fox Hotel or Mini Movers here in this case, and so it's just a great way of social proof, and it actually has a new rating way of looking at it. It's something that, again, that we'll discuss separately because that's a whole different video. But it is a great way to get your message out there, to get your local business out there if you are a physical business, and you can actually, to my knowledge, still do it if you're an online business as well. So that always needs to be reviewed. Google keep changing the rules on that, but certainly if you're a physical business, no problem whatsoever. You definitely should claim your Google Places page. It is free. It's already set up. If you don't claim it, then you might find somebody else does it for you and you don't want them to. So that's really, really important. So in terms of Hangouts, let's just see if I can just click on here. This is where you can actually arrange a hangout either with people you personally know. It's basically Skype on steroids, as I would call it, simply because it does so much more in many cases. If you're a Google fan, if you like Google tools, it just gives you a great opportunity to use them inside a video hangout where you can actually invite up to 9 other people to join you, and you can decide to keep that private, or you can decide to make that public. If you decide to make it public and you want to publicize a hangout, then it's something that you will actually get it connected to your YouTube channel, and you will get it linked to your Google Plus channel, and it will be basically alive to the world. And of course, you still have to promote it. Everybody's just not going to see it instantly, but this is extremely powerful and highly recommended to test out. And if you actually start a Hangout, this is what it will look like. I'm not going to go through it all now, but it actually will take you to the setup process, which I'll just show you briefly. So, and so you can add the names of the people who you want to actually get forward to the Hangout, and you can name it, of course, and you can make it Hangouts on air. So that is for clearly a business where you want to promote perhaps an interview, perhaps some information you want to basically advise people on, but it's actually something that is an area we'll again talk about later, because it is so powerful and so much to go through. So I hope that helps. Certainly you can attach a number of apps to Google Apps as well, in terms of Google Docs, and it's also something that you can now basically go into somebody else's desktop and help them with something if you're that technical. So I'll just come out of that, otherwise we'll get sidetracked on going through Google Hangouts, and this is just an overview. So I hope that helps. There is obviously so much more to talk about. You do need to make sure that you actually connect your website with your Google Plus page, and that's something that we'll cover in a separate video. So I look forward to talking to you then.